So a lot of these people that I meet in Austin, a lot of techies that I drive around, they're like in like a bubble. So, as for lack of a better word, so I was driving this guy around, and I would say like 95 of the percent of the conversation was great, and it was a long ride. We actually were in agreement on most things. And then he starts talking about like how he's for universal income and how, um, you know, it's okay, for people there. He was like, well, some people are just gonna want to stay home and play PlayStation and eat McDonald's. And, what are you gonna do? Like, make them work? I was like, yeah, like, I'm not paying for it. I want to be, like, sometimes when I'm talking to some of these people, there's a fine line between getting information out of them and really seeing what they think and just wanting to kick them out my car and watch them roll around the road. Like, seriously, like, I reached that line and I was just like, and I start mulling over what he said when we were talking about, not just that particular thing, but I start mulling over my head after he left. And I really didn't realize how like angry and upset I was, which is probably a good thing about it until after he got out the car. But then he was talking about like robots and how the robots are going to come. And I know this is what the technocrats want to happen. They want the robots to come and edge out the people. And then, the people are going to die off. They're going to eat big to McDonald's. They're going to, which is already happening, right? We have all these heart diseases. We have, the life expectancy is becoming shorter again due to autoimmune issues and heart disease and cancer and all this other stuff. And I mean, I couldn't even like begin to talk to him about how this is planned and how it is not an accident that this is happening. And it's just frustrating to watch these so-called people of the tech world that are supposedly, heralded as some of the highest thinking people, just really stupid and oblivious in a lot of ways, that they can't even like see this. They just have this idea that like, oh well, that just happens. I guess, it's happening. The robots are gonna come, and he goes, they're gonna edge out jobs like driving, and I'm like, that's my job. Like, what are you talking about? Like, how would you feel if somebody took your job? You want somebody to take your job? How about there were no coders anymore? Like, robots did it. Robots is starting to do that too. They had those robots, or that program that I'm saying I don't remember what company was working on, but the robots started inventing their own language, and they had to shut the project down because they were just like, how are these robots like speaking in their own language to each other? So this whole idea that artificial intelligence cannot gain sentience or consciousness is retarded. It's retarded. And I think, it kind of goes with the techie culture. There's a lot of atheism, like science has become a religion like scientism, right? I know a lot of people, and I toyed with that for a while, honestly, because I know a lot of hypocritical people that are Christians, people that would like a Bible thump, but they were like child molesters, or, but they were like, but read the Bible, So I understand, or people that are just holier than thou, that aren't really good people, but they hide behind Christianity or any other religion. So I can understand where a lot of that comes from, where people wanting to kind of stray from religion because they see the hypocrisy, but they just walk out of one closet into another one, with the whole atheism thing. And the atheism, in a lot of cases, becomes scientism, to where a lot of the science that is believed is still dogma, just like religion. It doesn't really have any logic to it, and it's just been sound bites that people have been programmed to memorize over time. So, this guy's talking about going back to the guy, he's talking about, oh, the jobs are going to be taken away, and that's just going to happen. The robots are going to come, and, they're not going to be, these menial jobs. And it was just like, well, people need jobs for self-esteem too. It gives them purpose. That's where freedom comes from. If you start relying on the government for money, then people start to dictate, what you can do with your life. It's kind of like living in your mama's house, and you want to do stuff, and your mom's, you're giving you money, and then you want to do something that's like impractical, and then their mom's like, not with my money, which is understandable, because if I was supporting somebody too, I wouldn't want somebody doing something harmful to them. I'm working my butt off to support you. No. But then, you know, if you have that attitude and you're just taking free money, nothing is free. You're paying with it with your soul. Okay. So, you know, and I was talking about these points, and he would just be like, that's true. But it's gonna happen. Like, he didn't even, like, it just went over his head. Like, he didn't really care, because he's seen Star Trek too many times, and the robots are gonna just come in and fix everything. You know, like that guy that just got impaled by the robot. It was like in China, it malfunctioned, and it sent 10 metal stakes this big, this thick, right? And this long. Like, you know, like in the vampire movies when they stake the vampires and the stakes are like this big? Like, it was like that, but 10 of them, okay? He's lucky that he lived. He was like, he had an angel on he had a couple, maybe more than 2 on his shoulders, because he totally lived. It was horrible. I guess I'll just put in the links. You guys have to see this. Now, I was reading the article, I don't think the robot got mad and just like shot those through them. I think it just happened to malfunction, and it came loose, and it was just kind of, you know, kind of going out of control, and it was shooting off parts, and it like it staked him. He just happened to be there. So I don't think in this instance, it was an instance of like artificial intelligence trying to take over and kill people. But, you know, there was a guy in a motor factory, in a Volkswagen factory, that got crushed by a robot. There was another lady that that died by a robot. So just because we have robots doesn't mean like all our problems are going to be solved. And I just think it's very arrogant and callous of this kind of like this tech culture to bring in this world of technocracy and not really have any feelings or really care about the people that, you know, are under them, you know. And it's really like they talk about like, you know, and I know I'm being general, okay, I know there's something, I'm like, right now, just let me be general, okay, open borders and everybody needs, you know, blah, 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 but then they're not practical about how all that's gonna work. Like, I was talking to this guy today, and I used to be a vegetarian for like, God, 15 years, and I still eat meat, but I try and eat as plant-based as possible. And I was a vegan for a short amount of time, but that didn't last. I had brisket, it was over. No, I'm just kidding, but that's not why I start eating meat again, but brisket's the shit. But I digress. So I actually did a lot of research and philosophy, and I think there's some people that can get away with being a vegan and a vegetarian, and then some people that can't. I think that we do have genetic makeups in that, and then we also have to figure out like what works well in our body. But this guy basically was talking about, I can't wait for the manufactured lab meat to like, you know, to be a thing. And I was like, ugh, like, why? I was like, I didn't say, but in my head I did, but I was like, why? Like, and he was like, oh, because, you know, then it's less cruelty to animals and stuff. I was like, okay, so where's the manufactured meat, like in the laboratory, coming from? I don't know. Oh, okay, well, what does it do to your body? I don't know. It's just better. I'm like, well, you know, actually, if you're going to be, you know, have such a strong opinion about this, you need to be able to answer those questions, not just for other people that you're trying to convince to agree with you, but yourself. So I feel like they kind of have, and then he got like really quiet, and then he started apologizing. I was like, don't apologize. I'm like, just do some research. Think about these things. You know, these are very hard. We were letting all of this technology into our society, and we're not having any ethical debates on ethics or how it's going to affect us in the long term. It's just like it's like all of these people in the tech world are fucking stunted teenagers, and they've seen like, you know, I think you can watch Star Trek like too many times, okay? They've just seen too many episodes of Star Trek, and they just want to live like that, but they don't really realize the implications of how it's going to affect society, like our emotionally, psychologically, physically, how it's infecting the environment. Because I was telling him, you know, even vegetarians would be like, oh, cruelty to animals, where animals kill other animals. And I think that we do have we're very disconnected with the environment. So I think that we do eat a lot of meat and dairy on a mass scale, like they're cows and animals, goats and stuff, that they're constantly being kept in a state of pregnancy to produce milk. You have to, you know, pasteurize and put it through a process so you don't get I mean, I can't do dairy, but I shouldn't do dairy, but anyway, it's not good, right? It's not really good, I don't think, especially on a mass scale. I think we can have meat. I'm going off on a tangent. I'm not trying to like dish you if you eat meat or if you don't eat meat, but what I'm saying is that everything's just out of balance, because even if you're a vegetarian, there's lots of land being plowed to grow soybeans for soy milk and soy products and tofu and seitan and all that stuff. And there's almond trees, and, you know, for, you know, there's lots of water being wasted, you know, growing by because of almond milk and stuff like that. And we're mass producing things, and we don't really understand as a society where a lot of our food comes from and how it affects the environment and how animals are affected. And, you know, when I was a teacher, I would make my kids healthy snacks and bring them after I kind of woke up to the whole GMO thing and how bad that was. I used to get my kids cookies and candies, and then I was like, oh my God, I can't do that anymore. I'm killing them. So I would bring things like, I would make kale chips at home, and I would bring like organic popcorn, coconut oil, and I would bring like, you know, oatmeal cookies. And I made like, what else did I make? Beet chips. They love those because they would eat them and their mouth would turn like purple and they'd be like, ah! They like those. And then I brought walnuts to school one day, and my friend had a walnut tree and a big old bag of walnuts in the shells. And they were like shocked. They're like, what are those? I was like, they're walnuts. And I bought a nutcracker so they can crack them and eat them. And they thought it was the best thing ever, but at the same time, they were just like shocked. They're like, these don't come in a bag. I'm like, no, they grow on a tree. Like, people don't know where food comes from. You know, I don't even know, like, where a lot of food comes from as an adult. I've had to learn. I'm still learning. But we're so disconnected from our ecosystem. And at the end of the day, I really feel when it comes to science, it's really a war between the biological sciences and the physical sciences. And I think that they both have their place. But the biological sciences or the physical sciences is being used as a tool to subvert the biological sciences. And this is where we're getting the disconnect. We build everything in, you know, contrast to nature and not with it, not, you know, parallel to it, not in harmony with it. So anyway, that is my rant. I hope I didn't go on too many tangents. And yeah, y'all. Anyway, all right, guys. Peace, love. Talk to you later. Bye. Mwah.